Just how did your first year in this new role go? How would you evaluate yourself and how the program did?
Yeah, this new role was definitely a little bit of a challenge. Used to very much focusing in on all things hitting, and this year my focus was, more of a broad scope. Very fortunate for the team that we had in place with, Matt Blood still being very hands-on with player development, and Kent Qualls does so much, and we've got really great coordinators in each department, and so was leaning on them a lot to make sure that initiatives continue to get carried out strongly in the minor leagues.
What did it mean to you to see that the team won that minor league sportsmanship award today?
It was cool. It's certainly not winning like a World Series trophy or anything, but it's an initiative that's a reflection of our behavior and how we conduct ourselves. And we said at spring training from the start, like, we can control our actions, and let's make sure that we're focusing on player development and nothing that takes away from that. And it's a compliment to our staff. They bought into being exemplifying good behavior and making sure that the focus is on the players, and it was cool to see them embody that.
This year has been sort of a transitional year for the system. So many players have, former top prospects have graduated, others have been traded. How strong do you think that the system still is?
I think it's very strong. Yeah, it's certainly cool to see a lot of players graduating to the big leagues, and that's the fun challenge of it, is making sure that we continue to restock. But we're very excited about the prospects that we continue to have in the minor leagues, and feel like initiatives are going well and players are continuing to show promise.
How big a part of that depth of the farm system and the strength of the farm system is coming from international prospects? Now it seems like a lot of those guys are starting to grow up and become better players.
Yeah, more and more. This was a huge year for the international department. Playoff appearance, the inauguration of the new academy, a lot of good players coming out of there. Just really cool to see that investment starting to show the fruits of all the labors of so many people.
How has the academy been working out?
Awesome. It's great down there, yeah. The building is beautiful. The space is awesome. The players just comment how much more comfortable it is. There's a lot more space for player development to truly take place. It's an absolute game changer, and I think we saw that on the field this year.
So what are you guys able to do now with the academy that you weren't able to a year ago before it existed?
Yeah, more bullpen mounds, more cages, much better weight room, bigger cafeteria, better food service. It's a much more accommodating place to live and train at, and I think it helps us maximize our capabilities each day with practice and then the games.
A couple guys who were up in the big leagues, spent a lot of time in the minors before that, Heston Kjerstad, Kobe Mayo. How hard is it to keep making sure that they are confident in their abilities, and were there things that you saw them experience in the big league level that you feel like they can improve on this winter?
Yeah, as far as confidence goes, they're confident kids, and they should be. They're really good baseball players. I think this young core that we have that's going up to the major leagues, and sometimes it's not always instant success. They do a good job of leaning on each other and learning from each other, going through those growth experiences. Where improvements can be made. Like, every player has their profile, and why the major leagues is so hard is because you're going up against the best players in the world that are trying to exploit what those weaknesses are. But I know that they're working hard at it, and with more time and repetition, we're very confident in those players.
Obviously, the adjustment to the major leagues is going to be difficult for most young players. It does seem, though, that a lot of the Orioles prospects that have gone up have struggled at first, and most of them have broken through that wall. Across the league, though, there are some young players that have come up immediately and had success. Is there anything that you guys are looking at that might be a common thread among those players as to why they might be struggling when they first get to the big leagues, and a way that you guys can maybe leapfrog that first struggle and not have it moving forward for some of these young guys?
Yeah, that's certainly the challenge, and I think it's the challenge that every organization is looking into. How can we get our guys to go up and be impact players right away? It's really tough, and the majority of prospects don't fulfill that immediately. We've seen some guys go up and do some really cool things right away, but you're right, the majority of them go up and struggle and have to make adjustments. We're looking to see what each player's individual weaknesses are and how they're being exploited, and how we can make sure to try and get ahead of that in the minor leagues before they go up to the big leagues. But that projection game can be pretty hard to play.
Does the the fact that somebody like Colton Cowser struggled, so mightily when he first came up, and then he has a season like he just had, does that give you guys confidence that for a player like Kobe Mayo, who did have a lot of struggles in 2024, Jackson Holiday to a lesser extent, and future prospects, that even if they do hit those stumbles, that you guys believe that there is something that you guys can do to, with the confidence that you have in your prospects, to break through if they do struggle at first? Yeah,
certainly. Colton had his struggles. Gunnar had his struggles, in the first half of the 2023 season. It's very rare that anyone goes up there and just lights the world on fire and stays that way. So we're very confident. We've seen these guys perform in the minor leagues. We know their talent and what they're capable of, and we've seen them be quick learners and make these adjustments. And so with a little more time and experience and being a part of the scene a little longer, we're very confident in them.
With those players, was there any common thread that you guys noticed? Were they all struggling with the same thing? Was it kind of each individual player had their own weaknesses? Was there anything in common that you found among the players who struggled when they got up?
A lot of differences, and that's what makes it a tough challenge. Like certain hitters hit certain pitches and locations better than others. And again, the tough thing about the big leagues is you're going up there and there's so much information nowadays that, the book's out. And they know what type of player you were in AAA and can take their best crack at it. And you're going up against talented players that have no higher level to continue to move to. So the big leagues truly is the best of the best, and it takes a little bit of time to settle in up there.
Speaking of AAA, were you involved at all in the hiring of the new manager?
Yes.
What can you tell us about?
We're very excited about Tim Fedorovich. Very happy for Buck Britton to be joining the Major League staff. He's got great relationships with the staff and players, and we're excited to bring Tim on board, bringing in Major League experience, both in the playing and coaching front. He's a great baseball mind, and we're very excited to continue to bring in talented people into the organization.
How do you evaluate Samuel Basayo's season last year, and what are still some of his weaknesses? What does he need to work on to get to the majors?
Yeah, Samuel Basayo's an incredible player, and the fact that he's doing what he's doing at a freshly turned 20 years old is amazing. All in all, a very productive season for him to be that young and play as well as he did in AA and advance up into AAA. Amazing. If you were to talk to him, he understands that continued maturity is a thing. I don't think any 20-year-old is ever ready for upper-level baseball, but he continues to learn from each game and the little mistakes and emotional struggles that each game can provide, and he's doing a really nice job with that. The skill set is amazing, and it's really awesome to see him continue to see what he's capable of every night.
Does the organization still view him as a catcher long term?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could he get to the big leagues for the end of 2025, or do you think that might still be just a little bit too soon?
Not my decision, but the skill set is pretty incredible.
Is he a guy who, if the academy had been around when he was first coming up, that his catching skills may be a little bit further along because he would have had those resources in his DR? Would he be an example of a guy who would have benefited from having the academy like that?
Hard to say. He's one of the exceptions to the rule as far as someone that just works so hard and diligently that he's going to find a way to continue to improve regardless of circumstance.
We only saw a tiny sample size from Vance Honeycutt last year. How important is this offseason for him to obviously struggle, but 13 games, for him to be able to work on his first adjustment to be in pro ball?
Yeah, very important. Every offseason's important, right? We're always looking to improve. Each player understands that the work doesn't stop. Vance, was down at Instructional League with us, working hard, had a very good head on his shoulders, and understands that professional baseball is a very challenging level. He's very motivated and, working to make adjustments, and, we are very confident for this upcoming season. He's an incredible athlete, very skilled. What he did at North Carolina was extremely impressive. We're excited to get him into this, into this organization and continue to put some polish on him.